talented and dynamic account executives who thrive in a fast-paced working environment. Those who are passionate, self-motivated, goal-oriented, and highly competitive. Are you a problem solver with great communication skills? Do you have a grasp on today's digital media? And do you have the ability to cultivate lasting relationships and partnerships? If this sounds like this is for you, apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on our careers tab. At Midwest Family Springfield, we offer unique sales career opportunities where you're given a challenging mission, world-class tools like HubSpot CRM, ongoing training, and the chance to realize your full potential as a marketing and advertising sales professional. This is Rob Zavitka, Director of Sales and Business Development Manager at Midwest Family Springfield. Are you my next candidate? If so, please apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on the Careers tab. Midwest Family is an equal opportunity employer.
What's the best thing to do with your money during uncertain times? Financial experts agree products like certificates of deposit and money market accounts can be a safe haven from a bumpy economy. At Warren Boynton State Bank, we've been helping people find ways for their money to make money for 145 years. Certificates of deposit, or CDs, give you a guaranteed return on your money. Money market accounts are a way to let your money earn higher interest with the flexibility of a checking account. These are just two options we have at Warren Boynton, each designed to give your money security, and they just might help you sleep better at night. At Warren Boynton, you can say we've seen a few things over the years. A lot has happened since we opened our doors in 1877, but no matter what was going on in the rest of the world, we've stood by folks in Central Illinois. A little extra confidence during challenging economic times. Warren Boynton State Bank, WBSB.net, member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Warren Boynton, your bank.
92.7 WMAY.
Springfield's news and talk.
Now it's time for Greg Bishop and the Council Roundup.
And the Council Roundup brought to you each and every week by Head West Subs. When you want a great sub, you've got to head west. Their downtown location open for lunch, also open on Saturdays, and don't forget about delivery. Head West Subs. So I was off last week, and they had a committee of the whole, and this week they had a full council meeting, where they had led ordinances that were on final passage, and they passed them. So we're not necessarily going to go piece by piece into those particular ordinances, though they are important because a lot of it's spending your tax resources. But one thing that was discussed last week and this week dealt with how to handle those experiencing homelessness, especially after we had the Christmas Eve fire. That's considered the largest structure fire in Springfield in quite some time. And again, if you're joining us watching online, you can see just that severity of the fire in the old Goodwill Sorting Center that was all an entire block of 11th and Enos. And it's speculated and then later confirmed that there were squatters in there, people who were homeless, taking some refuge inside a vacant building because of the immense freezing conditions that we had during that holiday period. You look out right now and it's warm, considering it's not 30 degrees below zero overnight. But with mild conditions, you might not be thinking about this. But even when that fire erupted, it very much was something top of mind for a lot of people, and how we deal with those experiencing homelessness. So that came up last week at the Springfield City Council, where Alderman Ralph Hanauer, he laid out his concerns about just what's going on with the homeless population and how to deal with this. And this is from last week, where Alderman Hanauer talked about how we need to get to the bottom of this.
We've got these homeless advocates that are out there, and if you read the articles, it makes you lead to believe that they knew people are they're squatting in some of these places. To me, it's their responsibility to let us know or let the police know or whatever to get them out, because what we don't want is, in this case, we didn't know how many people were in there. I mean, we could have lost 10 people or whatever. And then secondly, we don't want our firefighters to roll in and, they're guessing, so they're trying to go in and out. That's how we get people hurt or killed. And to me, it's their responsibility to let us know about when they know where people, if they're given bags or whatever and they're going there, they know people are squatting there.
So he's really looking for those who are already staffed to deal with outreach of those experiencing homelessness. Where are they at in these instances of knowing if people are going into vacant buildings, especially when we have sub-zero temperatures as we had on Christmas Eve, leading to somebody going into a vacant building, starting a fire to keep warm, and then things get out of control, and you've got resources having to be spent to search for the possible, possibility of people dead inside these vacant buildings that are burned out. And it's not a fun topic to have to talk about, but that's exactly the types of things that Springfield City Council and city councils across the country are having to contend with. More from Alderman Hanauer from last week.
I wanted more money for us to tear down vacant buildings because the people get in and squat in them. They build a fire because they get cold. The building catches fire. Our firefighters have to come in, and then they go in to try to help them. And some of these buildings are not. There's no way they can be rehabbed.
So again, that was from last week. Alderman Ralph Hanauer just raising some of those concerns. This week, a full city council meeting. One of the issues was around $400,000 for the Salvation Army to deal with this issue some more. But they also had Josh Sabo. He is a local advocate for addressing homelessness and working to develop partnerships with the city, the county, and various nonprofit groups. And Sabo in front of the Springfield City Council last night laying out some of the latest that he has to propose for how to address this issue.
We want to reach functional zero, which means that if a person experiences homelessness in our community, we want to be able to wrap the supports and services around them to help them end their homelessness within 30 days.
And Josh continues.
Is that right now, the number of people who are experiencing homelessness in our community beyond what we currently have services to meet is growing by around 155 people per year. And so the urgency, the need to really address this issue in an effective way continues to grow.
So you can see that this is an issue that's not going to go away, and it needs resources to address homelessness. Josh, he lays out what some of the proposals are that hopefully we can get everybody on board with, he says. So he lays out at least one of those proposals, talks some more about numbers and the needs and the staffing and so on.
The first core strategy is to create new supportive housing opportunities to help people end their homelessness. What we do know about homelessness is that it's a complex issue, but at the end of the day, it's housing that ultimately ends homelessness. And when we talk about housing, we're talking about supportive housing. Housing that includes a rental subsidy, but also includes case management, connection to other services that help a person stabilize and address whatever challenges and barriers they may have in their life and ultimately to thrive.
So what about the numbers? We heard about 1,500 people they know in their database and how it's growing, a certain number every year. It's a problem that's not going away, but how do we get to the root of this? What are the numbers that we're looking on, lay it out there on the table, Josh?
There are 1,142 people who are active in our database. Inside of that, our community only has 230 permanent housing opportunities. So that means permanent supportive housing, rapid rehousing, a few other voucher-based type of solutions. So the need for housing far outweighs what we have available for people.
And he talks about other needs.
We need to create 765 housing opportunities over the course of the next 5 years. So to put that in scale, currently we have 230. We need to build 765 over the next 5 years.
That's not an easy task, and that's going to take a lot of resources. And Josh Sabo talking about the staff that he has already on it, trying to connect people with these services.
Our community housing navigator is staffed at Helping Hands, and Nick Dodson's here with us. Hey, Nick. He's done a tremendous job helping people connect with housing opportunities, engaging landlords, getting landlords to utilize vouchers. We've seen a lot of success through that.
And Sabo also talking about how these dollars that are coming in from the federal government, from the America Rescue Plan Act, COVID-19 relief dollars, mind you, being used to address homelessness. He lays out what those dollars are going to be used for and how much is available.
Yeah, so when we talk about 765 housing opportunities, those $2.4 million could create 40 of some of the most challenging housing opportunities for our community to develop.
But that's not the entirety of all the housing that they need. 40 some odd housing from 2.4 million when he said that they need 700 plus of these types of housing options for those experiencing homelessness. He also talks about, some of the things moving forward in their proposal, a new board to help manage some of these resources.
And so the Lived Experience Advisory Board will be a board, and it'll be where people will be compensated for their time, but will have a leadership stake in helping our community to scale these solutions and bring them to bear. And then the Housing Task Force is connected to that first strategy. If we're going to create 765 housing opportunities, we're going to really need to collaborate, build partnerships, and really put in an incredible amount of effort to not only find units, but figure out how to support landlords who make those units available and support the agencies who are providing services in those units.
But that teamwork, it's going to have to go beyond just this new board that's created. You're going to have to bring in teams from all around, not just from the city, not just from nonprofits, but also from the county.
We would love for the city and the county to formally adopt this plan as your plan to address homelessness over the course of the next 5 years. We'd love for you to support the development of Heartland House as the backbone organization for reaching the goals of this plan. The county we've put together a budget for $625,000 to include staff, to include training for organizations, the Lived Experience Advisory Board, and other components. So the county has committed 40%, Capital Township has committed 20%, and we would ask the city to match the county at 40%.
So how much are they asking for? What are some of the questions that Alder people have? We'll get to that and more here with the Council Roundup. It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's News and Talk. The Council Roundup brought to you by Head West Subs. When you want a great sub, you've got to head west. Their downtown location open for lunch. Head West Subs. All right, stay tuned. Much more coming up, and including a question about what's going on with the Legacy Point Sports Complex. Where are we at with that? All right, so we'll get to that and more. It's right here on WMAY now. 721 from Culver's West on Wabash.
It's time to apply at Culver's West on Wabash. We're hiring all positions. And did we mention free food? Only at Culver's West on Wabash.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
Here's what we believe at Rex Battery. You should be able to find the right battery when you need it. Our company started when my dad needed a battery for his car, and he built it himself. Today, more than 50 years later, we are still making sure you can find the right battery you need. And that includes the common batteries people use every day to the hard-to-find batteries used in big farm equipment. While online outlets are struggling with supply chain issues, we have shelves full of batteries. The best part is we're right here in town and ready to help today. Hearing aids, power tools, and the car in your garage. If it takes a battery, you can find the battery at Rex Battery, Clear Lake, just west of Dirksen.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
Well, it's a new year, but we're still reflecting on 2022. And Mike Quimby with Green Hyundai letting us know that they're going to let everyone know just how they compared to other Hyundai dealers across the country and right here in Illinois. Mike, we're hoping you guys are able to take on that big, bad Chicago dealer. How are you feeling?
I feel like we got it, but I don't know how we couldn't. It's, 37 cars in 3 days towards the close of the year here. Just a real good push towards the end. And if we didn't make it, I have to thank, if we did or didn't, I need to thank Springfield and Central Illinois and all our customer base that respond when we ask for help. And they come running and they help us. It's a beautiful thing. It's what Springfield's all about, and it's what it's always been about. makes it proud to be a part of Springfield and the people who live here. It's a beautiful place to live, no matter what, even if the weather is up and down. But that's a beautiful thing, too, in itself. So, folks, we're going to let you know who the number one Hyundai dealer in the central United States is today. And we hope it's little old green Hyundai to beat out that big bad Chicago dealer. We'll know just as soon as Hyundai gets it together and lets us know the final numbers. It's like I don't know what it's like. It's like a horse race to the end, it seems like. So, but we appreciate what you all done for us. And, we're building a new store we're investing in a new store for investing in our customer base for quicker service. We'll have 28 indoor lifts at this facility that we can service 28 cars at the same time. It's, we can put them up in the air, not even service them. So it's a great future for Springfield. It's on Stanford Overpass right there next to Darcy's Pint. So we hope to be celebrating today with our customers at Green Hyundai on Dirksen. And you're always celebrating if you're driving around in a new Hyundai backed up by a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. So get up, get out, come out, get up, let's go. 23's ahead for us. We're your car dealer, Green Hyundai, Dirksen Parkway. Greg?
Mike Quimby, Green Hyundai. We'll talk tomorrow with that update.
We appreciate it, Greg. Thank you.
This is Jim over at CBD Botanicals. We are the second year in a row now sponsoring the Little Red Wagon with Christina Yock Farmers Insurance.
Hi there, this is Christina Yock with Farmers Insurance in Verdon, and we are here today at CBD Botanicals, who are one of our sponsors for our second annual Little Red Wagon donation station. We are collecting presents for shelter pets in the local area.
Some of the more needed items for this Little Red Wagon are blankets, food, and toys. The food is really important too, because I love to eat. Dogs do too.
We're going to be collecting your donations all of this month of December and through the second week of January.
While you're stopping by to donate, don't forget we also have pet items as well, whether it be a tincture or a treat or otherwise. And of course, bring your pet too, because Tatum always likes meeting new friends.
You can also go to Wagner Chiropractic and Wellness Center in Springfield, Chatham area, Dr. Sammy. Pet doctor in Rochester, Dr. Emily. Feel free to stop on by Farmers Insurance in Verdon and see me and our local pub Coraline, or again, CBD Botanicals, Tatum.
A new start. For many of us, all we want right now is a new start. If plans for your new start include starting or growing your own business, you can get the help you need from the Illinois Small Business Development Center for Central Illinois. The Illinois SBDC provides professional guidance for business growth. So, when you need help creating a business plan to get a loan, are looking for ways to grow or save your existing business, or are wondering how you can move your startup dreams to reality, you can go to the Illinois SBDC for help. Since the Illinois SBDC is a partnership of the U.S. Small Business Administration, Illinois Department of Commerce, and our local supporters, you can get the help you need at no charge. We're getting a new start too. So find us on the web to get started with an appointment with one of the professional advisors at the Illinois SBDC, the Illinois Small Business Development Center for Central Illinois. It's where to go when you need a new start for your business.
The Ramsey Show.
Xavier, do your friends pay your bills?
No, they do not.
Then their opinion and your personal finances don't matter. And you go, yeah, I became debt free. And they go, hold on, how'd you do that?
One of the things we find when we study millionaires is they will often tell us that their breakthrough came when they loved their friends and their family, but they no longer gave them a vote. I think your friend loves you. I just think he's stupid about money.
The Ramsey Show, weeknights at 10. Sponsored by INB. Bank Easy. Bank INB.
You will sleep better this year. You will sleep better this year. You will sleep better this year as long as you get to Just Beds during the store-wide New Year mattress sale. Bemco, Sealy Posturepedic, Chatham & Wells, Arctic Breeze, and Max Life are all on sale. Now that's how you kick off a new year. No more sleepless nights this year. As always, free delivery, setup, and haul away. You will sleep better this year. Just see the Yawn Exterminators at Just Beds on Montvale Drive in Springfield.
Just Beds.
The WMAY Daily Poll is sponsored by Adams Pest Control for commercial, residential, real estate inspections, and termite control. Cast your vote with the WMAY mobile app or at WMAY.com/poll.
And today's poll question is football too dangerous? Yes. The risks outweigh the benefits, or no. Accidents and injuries can happen in sports or any occasion or occupation. And as of so far this morning, most of you are saying no, accidents and injuries can happen in any sports or any occupation. But now it's split 50-50. So go vote at WMAY.com/poll or on the WMAY mobile app. It's brought to you by Adams Pest Control.
Take Springfield's morning news with Greg Bishop everywhere with the free WMAY mobile app. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's news and talk.
All right, back with the Council Roundup, brought to you by Head West Subs. When you want a great sub, you've got to head west. Their downtown location open for lunch, Head West Subs. And let's get back to the conversation last night at the full Springfield City Council, where they had Josh Sabo there, somebody who's helping organize the efforts to try to combat homelessness in Springfield. And Alderman Ralph Hanauer last night asking a series of questions. Here is Alderman Hanauer laying out just some of his concerns about, there's a lot of resources that are going to be available, but what do you do with people who don't want that help? Here he is.
Have any rules? They don't want to follow anything. They want to live their life free and easy, whatever. But sure. I just am concerned about the ones that either they're mentally ill, they don't want help from anybody. They want to do their thing.
And Sabo talking about, yes, indeed, that is a problem that there is.
And is that something
those who can't, find the right resources to get the help they need? And Alderwoman Conley, she's chiming in here to talk about that issue in particular, and other things that deal with low barrier shelters. And those are the shelters where they don't have strict requirements of being sober or showing up at a specific time. They're low barriers of entry to allow for people who don't necessarily want that wraparound type service, but need to get out of the extreme elements.
And is that something that we can really start, feeding into? We're looking at a $400,000 grant for Salvation Army to run our existing emergency shelter. Is the plan that those funds will be used, and that's going to work into this program, so that we're going to see this, where we are right now, will springboard into this system?
Sabo responding to Connolly's question.
So a lot of that has already been done and already in motion, and I think is well prepared to make a seamless transition into what's next.
So we've got, the questions of, other grants and other teams that are going to be offering up various services, and Sabo continues to provide some context of their plans.
I think part of the challenge, right? We have a plan. We're excited about having a plan, but we have no desire to sit here for a year ago and say, hey, but we still have a plan. We want to see things get done, and so these having resources actually come to bear so that we can actually create these housing opportunities is the next thing we have to get to work doing as soon as we can staff up. And
others also chiming in, including Alderman Donnellan, about resources that are going to be available.
I want to be clear of the amount. You're asking the city this evening to consider putting in our budget, and I don't have my glasses, but I'm just trying to focus in here, $250,000 for the next budget, right?
Right.
Is that in the draft budget, Mr. McCarty?
But we are still working with OPED to finalize a couple of final things, which we hope to do tomorrow.
Fair enough.
So it's a good thing we're having this meeting tonight.
Yeah. So Alderman McMiniman, he's got some questions that he wants answered about the money and how that's going to be spent, but also who's going to be involved in making the decisions to spend those tax resources. Here is Alderman McMiniman laying out some of those questions.
I think part of the challenge, right? We have a plan. We're excited about having a plan.
But I want to be clear of the amount. You're asking
And we'll get
the
to it, I
city
promise.
this.
All right, here we are. All right, now let's move over here to Alderman McMiniman. All right, here we go.
This is the strategy board for the Heartland Housed entity that's been developed, and
you're asking for an annual budget of $650,000. Would this budget be managed by Continuum of Care?
it would be managed by the strategy board.
So a board of sorts to help deal with the homeless population and the strategy board. How would they be comprised? Who would be on this board? How would they be paid?
It's the strategy board for the Heartland Housed entity that's been developed, and that entity is seeking nonprofit status, to establish. The Continuum of Care has never been a 501c3, so there's always been fiscal agents and things like that in order to get things done. So this allows us to streamline a lot of that.
But McMiniman continues with his questions about how exactly this is going to be managed.
Have you broken up the $625,000 into position titles and that kind of thing?
We do have a budget, so it's not all staff. It includes training and doing those types of things so that we can provide services for enhance what agencies are able to do. I don't have it in front of me, but it includes doing some of the consulting work that we need to do to sort of improve the system and try to bring it up to speed quickly, rental for offices, all that type of stuff.
More from Alderman McMiniman about the questions of management of these resources.
Does Mayor Langfelder get involved in hiring of those persons? Of course not. Does the county chair get involved in that? Of course not. So who's going to be the hands-on manager of that money?
It's a good question. Who is going to manage that money? Who's going to be the one dealing with those hundreds of thousands of dollars?
It's going to be the hands-on manager of that money, the person, the top manager, the person that manages that money.
Okay. Yeah, the chair of the committee is Kim Mobley over here. So the executive committee is Kim Mobley, Val Yazel, Dominic Watson, and Tim Haworth.
So that's who's going to compromise this or be composing this board. Sabo also talking about various costs.
I think Alderman McMiniman, part of when we talk about creating those 765 housing opportunities, there is a significant amount of funding that will be needed to do that, right? So that's, again, 2.4 million, or 2 million could get us those 40 housing opportunities. So it gives you a sense of, how much that's going to cost to really meet the goals in the plan. And the funding sources are going to have to be diverse. We're going to have to go after as much federal funding as we can, state funding, but then we're also going to have to, the work of the strategy board is to really align any community funding in the direction of this goal too. So
still more to come. We've got a few more things to tackle when it comes to how the city is looking to deal with the homeless population, especially after that large fire on Christmas Eve, and the temperatures getting really low and people getting into vacant buildings and the problems that are a result of that. So we'll hear a little bit more of that. But then we'll get into questions about Legacy Point Sports Complex. We've heard a lot about that. And a year ago, year and a half ago, 10 years ago, the possibility of a similar type of sports complex. But Alderman Hanauer, he wants some answers on a timeline of when this is actually going to come together. So we'll get to that coming up here. With the Council Roundup, I am late for news. It is Springfield's Morning News on WMAY now, 736.
92.7 WMAY.
Here are the three big things you need to know.
I'm Don Howard, our top story. The Russian military says unauthorized use of cell phones by Russian soldiers led to a deadly Ukrainian rocket attack on the facility where they were stationed. It raised the death toll from the weekend attack to 89, although independent sources estimate that hundreds of soldiers were killed. A Russian general said late Tuesday that phone signals allowed Kyiv's forces to determine the coordinates of the location of military personnel and launch a strike. Russian forces have been bogged down for months since invading Ukraine in February. Illinois Congresswoman Mary Miller is among the House Republicans withholding support from Kevin McCarthy in the early rounds of voting to determine who will be Speaker of the new Congress. Miller cast her vote instead for Ohio Republican Jim Jordan. She was one of more than a dozen members of the most conservative wing of the House GOP caucus to oppose McCarthy on each of the first three ballots. McCarthy has vowed to keep fighting to secure the speakership. Multiple tornadoes were reported Tuesday in portions of Sangamon, Christian, Macon, Logan, and DeWitt counties. The Macon County Emergency Management Agency, based in Decatur, said a grain silo was destroyed near US 51 and Washington Street in Maroa. Video posted by eyewitnesses showed twisted heaps of crumpled metal piled up by the roadside of US 51 as drivers cautiously moved by. No damage was reported in Sangamon County, although a funnel cloud was filmed near Illiopolis Tuesday afternoon. The Mega Millions jackpot increased to an estimated $940 million after another drawing Tuesday with no winner of the grand prize. The next drawing is scheduled to be held Friday night. The new $940 million jackpot is for a winner who chooses to be paid through an annuity over 29 years, while the cash payout would be an estimated $483 million. The new jackpot will remain the sixth largest jackpot in U.S. history and the largest since someone in California won a record $2 billion Powerball prize on November 8th. There still has not been an announced winner of that prize. 3 people have been displaced after a fire in a Springfield apartment. Firefighters were called to the building in the 600 block of West Lawrence for a report of a kitchen fire. Fire investigators say it appears the fire resulted from a stovetop that had been left on accidentally. Damage from the fire was contained to the kitchen of the apartment, but ventilation equipment had to be brought in to clear smoke from the structure. The American Red Cross is assisting residents who were displaced by the fire. Police officer Jason Huffman was sworn in Monday to fill out the remaining days of Tim Butler's term in the current session of the Illinois General Assembly. Huffman is a Menard County Sheriff's deputy and also works as a police officer in Sherman. Butler resigned December 31st to take a new position as a lobbyist with the Illinois Railroad Association after running unopposed in the last election. Republican Party bosses, rather than voters, will choose the next representative in the 95th House District for the next 2 years. Your dependable 5-day forecast is next on WMAY.
News sponsored by 7th Street Cidery, Central Illinois' first cidery, now open next door to Obed and Isaac's in downtown Springfield.
Memorial Health would like to talk to you about a career in healthcare. Now through the end of January, Memorial is hosting a series of hiring events for multiple departments. Come learn about our available positions, as well as some of the biggest hiring incentives we've ever offered, like limited time hiring bonuses for RNs and PCTs. Virtual sessions are available, but hurry, space is limited. Register now at jobs.memorial.health/events. Memorial is an equal opportunity employer.
Well, we're not quite done just yet. Brian Lauer here, and I hope you all had a great Christmas. I know I did. It was the last retail Christmas season for me. See, I've been in retail since I was in 8th grade. But don't say goodbye just yet. We still have inventory to sell. So, we may be open another couple of weeks or till it's gone. Bring your Christmas cash and save big. Hours are 11 to 6, Tuesday through Saturday, in the beautiful Montvale Junction Shopping Center on West Isles.
John, the price of groceries is enough to send somebody into a panic mode these days.
Yeah, especially when the refrigerator goes kaput.
Even more so. We got a call from a customer who had that problem with a freezer load of those expensive groceries.
And that'll keep you awake at night just thinking about it.
Right. So, because Dick Van Dyke stocks the 100 most used parts, we were able to send a factory-trained tech out to her place to fix the problem before she lost any of that food.
And he wasn't some subcontractor either.
Trained right here locally by the team of Dick Van Dyke.
You know, one way to fight inflation?
Yep.
Keep from having to buy expensive stuff twice.
Yes, you got that right.
This is Dennis Regan, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store, which means you have the comfort of knowing that if anything goes wrong, we'll make it right. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Hi, it's Taylor Stevens from Synergy Home Care. Catch our business spotlight this afternoon at 5:40 on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
Listen at home with your Amazon smart speaker. Alexa, play WMAY 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.
Your dependable 5-day forecast on WMAY. Today, mostly cloudy. Chance of flurries or sprinkles late this afternoon. High of 38 degrees. Low tonight around 30. Tomorrow, chance of flurries with a high near 33. Low around 28. Friday, mostly sunny with a high near 40. Low around 31. Saturday, a 40% chance of rain with a high near 42. Low around 33. Sunday, partly sunny with a high near 41. I'm Don Howard, 92.7 WMAY.
Weather sponsored by Lauterbach Tire and Auto, home of Stage 2 service. Drive safely now.
Springfield has so many must-see destinations when you come to visit, such as the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum, Bicentennial Plaza, and don't forget 7th Street Cidery. Yes, 7th Street Cidery, Central Illinois' first cidery, is quickly becoming a destination for their great selection of locally sourced ciders, meads, and perries in a warm, rustic atmosphere. Located at 503 South 7th Street next to Obed and Isaac's and across from Lincoln's home, near great shopping and history in the heart of downtown Springfield. 7th Street Cidery.
If you love barbecue and tasty butts drive you nuts, wiggle on over to Lil Willie's Smokehouse. Fresh smoked barbecue that you're gonna love. What's your pleasure? Brisket, pork, chicken? Lil Willie's got it. And all of the classic sides, like homemade mac and cheese and cornbread. Follow your nose to the smoke at Lil Willie's Smokehouse. Ask about Willie's Rewards, where you get points for eating barbecue. Lil Willie's Smokehouse at the corner of South Grand and MacArthur. Wiggle Central.
For more information, visit littlewilliesbbq.com.
How would you like to work for the area's premier multimedia marketing and advertising company right here in Springfield? Well, here's your opportunity. At Midwest Family, we're looking for talented and dynamic account executives who thrive in a fast-paced working environment. Those who are passionate, self-motivated, goal-oriented, and highly competitive. Are you a problem solver with great communication skills? Do you have a grasp on today's digital media? And do you have the ability to cultivate lasting relationships and partnerships? If this sounds like this is for you, apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on our careers tab. At Midwest Family Springfield, we offer unique sales career opportunities where you're given a challenging mission, world-class tools like HubSpot CRM, ongoing training, and the chance to realize your full potential as a marketing and advertising sales professional. This is Rob Zavitka, Director of Sales and Business Development Manager at Midwest Family Springfield. Are you my next candidate? If so, please apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on the careers tab. Midwest Family is an equal opportunity employer.
92.7 WMAY.
Springfield's news and talk.
All right, back with Springfield's morning news. It is the Council Roundup brought to you by Head West Subs. When you want a great sub, you've got to head west. A few other things to get to from last night's full Springfield City Council meeting. And a lot of the conversation was about how to deal with homelessness. And Alderman Joe McMiniman having a series of questions that he had for Josh Sabo from a local community group that's working to bring resources together to deal with homelessness. Alderman McMiniman chiming in to talk about the current lay of the land when it comes to the amount of shelters that there are. Here is Alderman McMiniman laying out some of his ongoing questions.
We have, at last count, some 13 various types of shelters of different kinds within the city, and we need someone who's going to be responsible for kind of assessing all of those shelters and deciding whether the money is well spent and who's making progress and who hasn't. Some really tough management is needed out there.
So, a lot of different shelters already in operation. And how do you go about bringing all those resources together to ensure that we've got the staffing and the resources necessary to deal with this issue? Here is now the Salvation Army, who is in line to get around $400,000 from the city of Springfield to operate one of those shelters.
And so the agenda item is talking about funding the shelter that we've been running. I think we took a great step forward when we went to year-round instead of just over the winter. I think that made a huge difference, and we saw the results.
And the results are that you have people who do get resources and the help they need from the Salvation Army, even when it's not really that cold out in the summertime, for instance.
Over the winter, I think that made a huge difference. And we saw the results over the summer when we were averaging 35, 40 people a month. We've always assumed in the past that the summer is okay and people can go out, but we've shown that that's not true. And so we're really glad to be part of this system and to be part of the progress that's being made. And so, coming to you to ask for the ability to keep funding this through until the job's done.
Yeah, and is the job ever really going to be done? I think that's a big question that we all kind of know the answer to. Homelessness is not just a recent problem. It's a problem that's persistent.
Anytime it's been under 32 degrees, we've been open for sure, or if there's a storm of some kind. Otherwise, we focus on the afternoon hours. when there's less places for people to go.
All right, so that was a little bit of the conversation about how to deal with homelessness in Springfield. Moving on to other city business, you had Alderman Hanauer raise a substantial question of something we've debated here and heard debated for months on end, a year plus, 2 years, and so on. It's the Legacy Point Sports Complex, where a lot of different taxes are being offered up to allow for building of this and giving resources to the building of this, but where is it exactly? Here is Alderman Ralph Hanauer.
Can we get an updated timeline on that? Because they've blown through the timeline they initially gave us. I happened to be in Lake of the Ozarks over the weekend. They have like a Legacy Point down there. And today they just announced that because it's been so popular and it's been bigger than they could imagine, they're doubling the size of it. And they're going to have it done by next year.
So
we keep hearing promises and promises and promises. I believe we have increased the tax, the hotel tax, correct? And now that tax is building up. I hope he doesn't think he's getting it right now because he hasn't done a dang thing to put a shovel in the ground.
So Alderman Hanauer wants some answers on a timeline. When is this actually going to be dealt with? When are we going to actually see some shovels in the ground to get this done? Corporation Counsel Jim Zirkle, he chimes in on kind of where we're at in this process.
I was going to say, I know they've been meeting with the various taxing bodies. I'm pretty certain they did reach an agreement with the school district in the last 60 days or so. We were told that they were working with the Park District, or it had some request or discussion. They're outside the current performance parameters. That's been explained to them verbally, and they understand that they have the obligation to produce reports and show what the, if you will, progress.
So are we going to hear more about this? Yes, absolutely. No question about it. And we'll, of course, bring you the latest here with the Council Roundup each and every Wednesday on WMAY. It is Springfield's Morning News on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. I'm Greg Bishop. Coming back, we will discuss an issue that's expected to come up at the Illinois State House with the Illinois Grape Growers and Vintners Alliance. So stay tuned. That's next here on WMAY. All right, let's take a break now. 7:50 from Culver's West on Wabash.
It's time to apply at Culver's West on Wabash. We're hiring all positions. And did we mention free food? Only at Culver's West on Wabash.
It's the time of year when the best part of your day might very well be getting out of the weather and getting into your nice, comfortable home. But is your home as comfortable as it could be? It can be with MB Heating and Cooling. First of all, a service agreement with MB Heating and Cooling makes sure that your furnace is working at peak capacity and optimum performance. You save money, you extend the life of your equipment, all at big savings. You can find out more about service agreements at mb-heating.com. But don't forget about the other services MB offers, like a humidifier. As part of your heating system, it would make a huge difference in indoor air quality and comfort. You can ask the team at MB about one when you schedule your service appointment. And maybe it's time for a new furnace all the way around. If your furnace is old and tired and not as efficient as it should be, it's time for a new one. Talk to the folks at MB Heating and Cooling. Again, you can go to mb-heating.com or call 217-544-HEAT, 217-544-4328.
Anxiety. There's plenty of it to go around for just about everyone these days, but the question is, how are you dealing with it? Anxiety can make things difficult. If you find yourself reaching for drugs or alcohol as the solution, chances are your anxiety has gotten out of control. It's time to pick up the phone and call Gateway Foundation. You'll talk with someone who holds the strictest confidentiality so that you can open up and learn about treatment options. Our team of professional counselors, therapists, psychiatrists, and physicians have a long history of helping people like you get back on track. During the healing process, you'll find that there is nothing to be ashamed of. Calling Gateway Foundation is that important first step towards getting away from the self-medication of alcohol and other substances and on the road towards safe, rewarding, and sustainable recovery. Call Gateway Foundation at 877-505-HOPE for a free, private, confidential screening. Gateway Foundation, addiction medicine saving lives.
You will sleep better this year. You will sleep better this year. You will sleep better this year as long as you get to Just Beds during the store-wide New Year mattress sale. Bemco, Sealy Posturepedic, Chatham & Wells, Arctic Breeze, and Max Life are all on sale. Now that's how you kick off a new year. No more sleepless nights this year. As always, free delivery set up in Holloway. You will sleep better this year. Just see the Yawn Exterminators at Just Beds on Montvale Drive in Springfield.
Hey, John, when you think of the word supply chain, what's your next impulse?
No, turn off the news, run for cover, start whimpering.
Yeah, well, a customer of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World wrote in that they visited the store wanting to buy a microwave.
Something that used to be so simple.
Oh, right. You know what they walked out with?
Let me guess. A microwave.
Exactly. Dick Van Dyke had what they needed in stock, and the customer also remarked as to how helpful the salespeople were, too. Supply chain problems are still a thing, but this customer got the help they needed, and they wrote in to thank us.
You know, a little less whimpering in today's world can't be a bad thing.
This is Dennis Reekin, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. Supply chain issues are minimized when you have multiple locations and people who know how to help you with your next purchase. All we do is appliances, and we do them better than anyone else. Wow!
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole store.
Hello, Lauterbach Man here. People often come by and they say to me, Lauterbach Man, how do you manage to stay outside all winter? But because they're so short, it just sounds like... But I get the gist. It's cold out, and how can a fella like me endure the cold? Because at Lauterbach Tire, we understand staying outside in the cold. Your car does it every single winter. Oh yes, it challenges the batteries and belts and important fluids, but does it ever break down? No, because you brought your car to my top team of automotive technicians. Winter is tough on us all, but it doesn't have to be tough on your car. We'll make sure it's happy to start up in the morning. Oh, somebody else down there is asking me something. How zebras, tomato soup, hamper, shoelace? I can't understand you. No, it's because you're short. Sorry. Lauterbach Man at Lauterbach Tire on Wabash. We fix cars so you can drive safely now.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing.
But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Springfield's Morning News with Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY.
All right, it's Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's News and Talk. After this, I'm going to go over to the Illinois State House and see what's going on with the start of lame duck session. A lot of things could come up. One of them could deal with providing some relief for Illinois winemakers. And joining us to talk about that from the Illinois Grape Growers and Vintners Alliance is Lisa Ellis. And Lisa, what are you guys looking for at the Illinois State House? Good morning.
Good morning, Greg, and thanks for the opportunity to chat with you about Senate Bill 1001. And we are scheduled for this issue to be heard in executive committee on Thursday morning. And basically, it's a one-issue bill, and it will reduce the wine manufacturing fee to pre-pandemic levels. Unfortunately, during COVID, there were a number of measures put in place to try to help small businesses throughout the state. And I think unintentionally, wine manufacturing fees ended up getting increased at that time by 60%. We really don't believe it was an intentional act against our industry, but so this bill will simply revert our wine manufacturing fees back down to pre-pandemic levels and help the Illinois wineries, continue to recover from the pandemic, grow their businesses, and be a major player in Illinois' agritourism industry.
And we're talking about a fee that's right now $1,250. You're looking to drop it back down to what, like $700? How does that compare, though, even if it's dropped back down to some of the neighboring states like Missouri, for instance?
Well, that's a good point to bring up. For example, we share a border with Missouri. We share an American viticulture area with the state of Missouri, and the wine industry there does receive a significant higher amount of support, including a cap on wine manufacturing fees. In Missouri, they're capped at $300 annually. So even moving our fee back down to pre-pandemic levels of $750, we're still more than double, the manufacturing fee of a neighboring state. And so if we want to continue to grow our industry, which many people are surprised to find that Illinois has a strong wine industry, we certainly need to be putting our focus on these issues that we believe are easily corrected and will help us grow.
And we'll see how that bill advances. It's already passed the Illinois Senate, it's only up to the Illinois House. But in this last minute, we've got here Lisa Ellis with the Illinois Grape Growers and Vintners Alliance. Down the line, the consumer, how are they going to be impacted by this? You got about 40 seconds here.
Sure. Again, costs are rising across the board for all industries, and the wine business is no different. Chemical costs are increasing, the cost of glass and things of that nature. So anything the state can do to lower the operational costs will help keep prices at a reasonable level for Illinois consumers.
Lisa Ellis, the Illinois Grape Growers and Vintners Alliance, greatly appreciate you taking the time this morning. We'll be watching closely, especially at that House Executive Committee hearing Thursday, and how this bill advances. Greatly appreciate your time. Be safe out there, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Absolutely. It is Springfield's Morning News on WMAY coming up on 8 o'clock.